Okay, so it's time for May to be Reds. I can't believe how fast time is going by, but that's what we're going to talk about. This is Stephanie with This Reader's Life, and I'm glad that you found me. If you are returning, welcome back. And if this is the first time you've ever been here, this is a channel that talks mostly about books. Occasionally, I talk about other blessings, but mostly about books. I rabbit hole every now and then down some personal fun story that I think is interesting or humorous. But anyway, this is May to be Read. Again, I don't know how we've gotten, the time is going by so quickly. It just amazes me. I understand that it's relative, and I understand that the older I get, the faster it's going to go, but it is phenomenal to me how fast it actually goes. Y'all remember that when you think it's a long time until Christmas, or you think it's a long time, when you were a kid waiting for that next, I don't know, that next rite of passage. You hit a point where there are not a lot more rites of passage except for maybe passing. So anyway, I love my life and I'm having fun, but time does just fly. So let's talk about my May to be reads. And the first thing I'll tell you is that I finished Middlemarch, which I really, really enjoyed Middlemarch. I thought it was a wonderful book. I listened to it, and I will say it's wordy. A lot of people have complained about that there's a narrative that runs through it when it's not talking specifically about the different characters or the town of Middlemarch. Sometimes it's talking about things on a more generic level. And a lot of people are irritated by it because they just want the story to keep moving on. And I will say that there were times when it felt like it went on just a little bit, but I liked that narration and that narrative that gives a little perspective on the time, or gives a little bit of an opinion about the way society works or the way personalities work. I liked that part of the book, so I didn't rush through it, and I think that was good for me. And a lot of times I will read a book really fast because I'm dying to see what happens next. And the person my favorite character initially would have been Mrs. Casaubon, Dorothea, but I also liked her sister. So, and I was surprised to like her sister so well. And then Mary Garth, of course, is a lovely character. We should all be like Mary Garth as much as we can, but she's just got such a great personality, and she's so positive and honest and perceptive. I like Mary Garth in this book. However, that is Middlemarch, and I have finished it, and I don't have any particular intention of reading any more George Eliot. I can't remember what her real name is. That was her a pseudonym or a name that she wrote under, but mostly because women weren't publishing at that time. But I will say that I really enjoyed it. The books on my to be read, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 to be reads for May, and I may add more mid-May, but right now this may be as much as I get done. I'm reading A Prayer for Owen Meany. That's the one that I've started, and it is on my list to finish before the end of the month, because it's my readers group. My real life readers group has chosen that, and it's a first read, I think, for all of us. So A Prayer for Owen Meany is by John Irving, and it is a story about the story starts off with 2 young boys who become friends, and who become attached to one another. I don't know if they would have become friends otherwise, but there is a situation where one of the boys, due to an accident, a complete accident, one of the boys' mother is killed, and the other boy is at fault, or caused the accident. It was something he did that caused the accident. I hope that's not too much of a spoiler, but that comes at the very beginning of the book. This book is about the 2 boys. One is a young man who has a mother and no father. His mother lives with her mother, so he lives at his mother's house with his grandmother, and he is the family is well to do. They're sort of opinions in society, so they're well off. And then Owen Meany, who is the other um, child in this story of the two boys, he is he's very unusual. He is a dwarf. He has an odd his looks are unusual. He has pointed ears. He has a sharp little nose. He he's very small. He's easy to lift. He also has a very unusual voice, and this it's there's no way to explain it because you haven't heard it. However, the way that John Irving sort of depicts the fact that it's different is he uses all capital letters anytime Owen Meany speaks. So so you sort of have a sense of maybe a screechy, loud, maybe slightly irritating voice. I know that in the story there's a grandmother in the story that just says, "I cannot abide that child's voice." Um, he's very special, and he considers himself to have a sort of a mission from God, and that he's he feels like his life is devoted to God. He is religious. And the other boy feels that his reason for being a Christian is Owen Meany. So their adventures together are take place over several years. There is a lot of faith talked about, loss that is talked about, um, and I honestly I'm not to the halfway point in this book, and I still don't know if I'm gonna ultimately like it. It's very, very well written. John Irving tells a wonderful story. He can make you laugh out loud. He can make you cry. He is a very emotional writer, and there are parts of what he writes that I've enjoyed a lot, and then there are some things that have made me a little bit uncomfortable. I feel like his view of women may not be, his portrayal of women is not very positive, and so I'm curious about that part. But that may change. Not everything has been that way throughout the entire book so far. So I will reserve my opinion on that until I've finished it. The other thing that I will continue reading, which is completely different from A Prayer for Owen Meany, is the Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon. I'm ready to start Volume 4. I absolutely adore Emma M. Lyon. She is so easy. I've been listening to her I've been listening to her is what I want to say. Obviously, it's a wonderful narrator, and I'm enjoying these books so much. They are such a relief and such a release from daily life that you just sort of I just sort of immerse and enjoy and feel like I'm right there. And you can almost hear, you know, the her footsteps. You can almost I don't know. It's they're very well written. I think Beth Brower is brilliant. That's who the author is, and I think it's one of the best things I've ever listened to. I'm sure they'll make a movie, and when they do, or they'll make a series out of it, and it will take a lot for me to decide to watch it because I don't know what they'll do to it, but I can't imagine that they could get it better than what my imagination does based on what I'm hearing. So that'll be interesting. The next book that I'm reading, again, completely different, is The Robe by Lloyd C. Douglas. And this book was written in 1942. It is a story told about a biblical event. At the time that Christ was crucified, his clothes were they drew lots, or they threw dice, or they gambled to decide who got his clothing. And this is the story of the man who ends up with Christ's robe. And I know that there was a movie. It was a big epic movie, and I want to say Charlton Heston was in it, but he did so many of those biblical epics, I don't know. So I don't know how well I'm going to like it. I'm reading it based on another booktuber's mentioned that she was planning to reread it, and so I decided I would like to read that book. I've never read it, and I will let y'all know what I think when I get through it. The next one is an Audible book that I'm listening to, and it is a collection of essays by Anne Larry. Just even the name of the book makes me laugh. I've tried being nice, and it is, again, it's by Anne Leary. Anne Leary has written several books. She she wrote The Good House, which is about an older real estate agent female who I think is widowed or may be divorced, but she has a bit of a drinking problem, and it's just about her family relationships and her relationships within the town. And I enjoyed that book a lot. I thought it was very good, but I this is just essays that Anne Leary has written. She is married to Dennis Leary, who is a stand-up comic and an actor. And I don't know his work very well, but I know who Dennis Leary is. One of the things she talks about early when I was listening to a sample was that she's often mistaken for being the wife of Dennis Miller, who is a completely different person from Dennis Leary, and she's often asked, "What's it like living with a comic like Dennis Miller?" And she tells them, "I have no idea." So that's kind of interesting, but I think I'll enjoy this. I think she's got a great sense of humor herself. The next one that I am reading is one that it's a carryover from March. It's "O Pioneers" by Willa Cather. And originally I was going to read, based on another booktuber's to be read, I was going to read "The Song of the Lark" by Willa Cather, but I was not able to find it. I couldn't find it at the library, and I couldn't find it on either Libby or my Hoopla, which is another library that I check books out from, and I couldn't find it. But when I went to the library, I did find "O Pioneers," and it may be good that I'm reading that one first, because it is sort of considered the first in the trilogy of "O Pioneers," "My Antonia," and "The Song of the Lark." So there are those three that are, I believe they're all have something. I think they all take place in Nebraska. That might not be right, but at any rate, they are considered the sort of the Pioneers trilogy. And so I'm glad that I started with that. All I really know, I've started reading it. It's about Alexandra, who is a young woman on the prairie who, as sort of the leader of the family after the death of her father, she refuses to give up when a lot of people are leaving the prairie. This is near the end of the 1800s, 1880, 1880 to the 1890s, and then forward from there. And this is about her success as a woman on the prairie. What I do know is, from what little bit that I've read, is that Willa Cather's ability to write about a landscape and the setting is very, very good. I feel like I'm on the prairie when I read what she says about the landscape there, the Nebraska prairie. So I think that's wonderful, and I'm looking forward to keeping on with that book. The next one is "When Ghosts Come Home," and it's by Wiley Cash. I have not started it yet. I know that it is about a sheriff and his wife. They're a little bit older. They live in a small town, that there is a airplane crashes near them, and that there is also a murder involved. A body is found. I don't know if a murder is involved, but a body is found. So I haven't started that. But the very last one, which I've already talked about in another video, and it's one that I found in my book haul, that I was never going to buy any books again, not this year. And that's "Undaunted Courage" by Stephen Ambrose. And I have just started it. It is about Meriwether Lewis and Thomas Jefferson and the opening of the West in the United States, or the search for the Northwest Passage, the Lewis and Clark expedition, all of the above. And I think that Stephen Ambrose is a very, very good historian, and so I'm really, really anxious to read this book. I've read bits and pieces of the diaries, but I have not. I don't know a whole lot about it, so I'm reading that for education and because the area interests me. The area being huge, but here in Leavenworth, Kansas, the river that goes through here was part of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and Leavenworth was one of the first cities in Kansas, and it was sort of a jumping off spot for people that were going west from the time of Lewis and Clark and afterwards. So um, those are the books that I've got on my list. I feel like it's a little bit ambitious, but if I keep reading the way that I've been reading lately, I may get them done, and so I may do a mid May um, update or add some more, or I don't know. We're going to find out. But and until we get together again, please remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, be kind to the planet, be blessed, and y'all have a good day. Thanks. Bye bye.